Hello, everybody, and welcome to another mini episode of the Above Average Joe Show. I am super excited for this episode because I just finished watching a miniseries on Hulu called The Act, which is a series that is about weird, strange occurrences, real-life stories that are stranger than fiction. And season 1 was all about Munchausen by proxy, which if you don't know what that is, we will talk about it for a little bit. But I have a very special guest with me today. Edward Michael Scott is here, who is actually in The Act. How are you doing today, Edward?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. I am so excited to sit here and chat with you for a little bit. After finishing watching this series, my mind is blown because I had just listened to another podcast episode on stuff you should know about Munchausen. And they had briefly mentioned Munchausen by proxy, but to actually see it in action just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, it's a pretty bizarre and crazy syndrome, for sure.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, Munchausen syndrome is when somebody acts like they're sick for attention. But using Munchausen by proxy is when the caregiver pretends that they're, in this case, the mother to the daughter. The mother is treating the daughter as if she is sick, which completely baffles me that this even exists and that people actually do this to somebody else, especially somebody that they love. But Edward, you had said that you had listened to a couple of interviews with Joey King, who was the star of the show, and she was talking with, I think you said Dr. Phil about this?
Not the actress. I watched some interviews from the real life girl, Gypsy Rose.
Oh, Gypsy Rose. Wow, this is even more fascinating now.
Yeah, so I went because I knew I didn't have the chance to sit down and watch the series myself yet. I know it sounds bad, but I went in and watched some brief interviews of Gypsy Rose with Dr. Phil from, I think, a couple years back, or when the story had originally broken, because they did a documentary about her before they decided to shoot The Act. And I think that's where the idea for shooting The Act came from, was that documentary. Pretty fascinating and pretty disturbing stuff, I'll tell you.
Yeah, if you get a chance, watch it on Hulu. And I think HBO is the one that's carrying the documentary right now, because somebody had just messaged me and said, hey, check out the documentary on HBO. But you got to work on The Act in a scene that takes place in a diner when Gypsy Rose is escaping-ish from her mom, at least for a brief moment.
Correct. Without giving away too much for someone who hasn't seen it, I play a police officer basically coming into a diner that I frequent. And there is Gypsy and Nick there at the diner. And some events have just transpired. Some things have happened that has them a little spooked when they see me. And without giving too much away, there is a moment, a conversation, if you will, between us. And kind of leaves the audience wondering for a brief moment, what's going to happen here? And so that's all I want to say without giving them too much away. But it was a fun day of shooting and a lot of fun to play a police officer, especially alongside the two main stars of the show.
Yeah, when I watched that scene, I was in that exact emotion that I was supposed to be in, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? So I have to say that you played it perfectly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was a fun day.
And what was it like working with Joey King? Because after watching the series, she seems like a very phenomenal actor to me. This seems to be a breakout role for her because she's saying that The Act has now changed her life and stuff. And side note, she looks completely different from wig to shaved head. I don't know if you saw her with her shaved head at all on and off screen, because I know the scene that you were in, she had her wig on. But
correct. I did not, leading up to that, I had not seen her with her wig off. So I did not know what she looked like. And to be honest, I don't look up other actors a whole lot before I work with them.
Oh, she had normal hair before the act, so
Right,
anything you would have looked
right.
up, she would have looked like regular length hair.
Exactly. So, but what I was getting at was, I knew that she had worked on a few smaller things that had kind of put her name out there and put her on the map a little bit. And I forget, unfortunately, I do forget off the top of my head what that was, but there was one movie she did where she had a pretty decent role that kind of put her a little bit out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember too. It was a horror movie, and she played one of the daughters.
Yeah. Working with her and Caleb was a lot of fun. I will say, I knew going in that she had a lot on her plate as far as from the actor's point of view. So she was pretty much staying the character. She was staying to herself in between takes and chit-chat a little bit, but I knew that she kind of was a little preoccupied mentally. Caleb, on the other hand, was a lot more talkative with us. I think he kind of felt like his character, while he did a phenomenal job as well, didn't have to be as emotionally available. So he could kind of free himself to be a little bit more social with me and the other actor that played in that diner scene, which is funny because that other actor, Corby Dean, and I have become good friends. So, but yeah, working with those two and just holding the moments and, keeping that moment intense, if you will, was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And it was The Conjuring that she was in. I just looked it up. The Conjuring.
Yeah, that's right. Now, when I look, I can tell that she's like number 15 or number 10 or something like that on IMDb. So she is completely blown up because of this show. And I can't imagine what her life must be like now with all the exposure.
Yeah, she's been doing the network and going from place to place to place and talking with all the talk shows and stuff. She's staying very busy from this.
I bet.
And then you had mentioned Caleb. And I'm curious, because I haven't had a chance to look anything up with him or any of his interviews. He's not anything like that character, is he?
No. He's actually a really cool, down-to-earth guy. Very upbeat, very positive. In between takes, he's always, telling us, hey, great job. Really, really involved in the moment with the other actors. But yeah, laid back guy, really down-to-earth, fun, just a regular guy.
Yeah,
But his character, he's got to play a little crazy.
Yeah, and I 200% buy into his character of Nick Godejohn as being this very socially awkward, with an alter ego, kind of psychotic, weird. I don't even know how to describe him. Yeah, he plays it to a T. He does an amazing job, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that personally. But maybe that's because I haven't looked him up on the circuits.
Well, I 100% agree with that. I think so much attention was put on Joey for her character as Gypsy Rose that even Caleb's character, Nick, kind of takes a back seat to what she had to kind of bring to the table.
Yeah.
I think they both did a phenomenal job, and all I can say is it was so much fun working with them, and it was so easy. And he kept telling me how good of a job I was, and it's funny because I was explaining to him the day of that their performances and how believable they were made my job as an actor so much easier. Like, it didn't even feel like I was acting. I felt like I was just in the moment.
And did you have to do any sort of research for the character, or did you do anything to prepare for that scene at all, or did you just go in and it's like, okay, this is what I've got to do, let's shoot it and get it done?
Probably the latter. I get a lot of police officer characters of any kind of official look because of bald head and everything. Thanks God. But no, I get a lot of those kinds of auditions and roles that when I do book, it's usually something of official: police officer, prison guard, FBI, security. So I'm used to it, and I think more so for the day when I went in, I had to kind of understand the scene, I guess, the best.
Yeah.
Just kind of know what my motivation was, not just for myself, but what the scene was trying to capture, and then play to that so I could kind of play it so that the audience had that suspense, if you will. You know, I didn't go into it being too one way or another. I had to kind of walk that fine line to give the build-up, but not be a complete, jerk cop, if you will.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that you've played officers and military types before, which brings up that you also just had a role in Doom Patrol.
Correct.
And what did you do in Doom Patrol? I'm curious about this, because I haven't had a chance to watch any of it yet.
So in Doom Patrol, I played an FBI agent in a flashback scene back in the 60s. So I got to play opposite Ethan McDowell, who was kind of like another FBI agent or DOD, and I got to work with him, and we were basically taking, it wasn't Mr. Nobody, it was, I forget the character's name, the guy that had the bandage on his face the whole time in Doom Patrol. I'm drawing a blank on the character name, but we basically lowered him down this dark kind of corridor. So that was a really easy scene for me, just basically kind of staying in character and playing a 60s government agent.
And then a quick rewind back to the act, I just want to say Anna Sophia Robb, which plays the neighbor across the street, did an amazing job. I've seen her in Soul Surfer and a couple of other things. And then also Juliette Lewis. Those are two other actresses that stood out to me, which I know you didn't get a chance to work with, but just for anybody listening that watches the series.
Yeah. I didn't work with the mother.
Yeah, Patricia Arquette. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I mean, I don't know if she got enough credit. I've heard people say that she blew it out of the water.
Oh, completely. Oh.
That's the kind of role that I think most people would love to delve into mentally and see if they could handle it, because that's completely opposite of what we normally are like. So most actors want to play opposite who they are. But yeah, I think Patricia Arquette's character, she's probably going to get at least a nod, like an Oscar nod, if not, or
she's got to get a nomination somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, her and Billy both did such an amazing job on the show.
Yeah, I would say for the first...
Juliette, I love that actress.
Oh, yeah. But let's go ahead and get things wrapped up here real quick. Thanks for joining us, but if people want to find out more about you, what are some social medias that they can find you on, and how do they look you up? Okay, so on Facebook, I do have a fan page, Facebook.com. Edward Michael Scott is my stage name. I do have an Instagram account. It's Naked Skull Actor. So just for the bald head, Naked Skull Actor. And on IMDb, if anybody wants to go and give my page a like and follow me on IMDb, it's imdb.me/Edward Michael Scott. And for anybody that is listening, once again, let me just say that the Act and Doom Patrol and everybody else has not asked us to push their stuff. We are just talking about it because I watched it and I loved it. So we're not getting any residuals from it. We're not getting paid from it. And same thing with Edward. He's not getting paid to promote it or anything. But thanks for hanging out with us for another mini episode of the Above Average Joe Show. And we will be back next week with another full episode for you. Stay tuned, and we will see you in a few days. Thanks. All right, thanks. Thank you again to our very special guest, Edward Michael Scott. Special shout out thanks to Addison and Jamie Lynn again for all their assistance on this episode. And be sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And look for us on Spotify, Stitcher, and iTunes. You can also check out another podcast I co-host, The Extra Unordinary, and some other great media content by Moon Possum Productions at moonpossum.com.
Easy peasy. Sounds good.